104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. Brady and Goss in for Levac and Wolf today. We head out to the phone line where we find ourselves Laffit and Kai. He was on the coverage for NBC Sports for the Belmont Stakes. Laffit, you were at Belmont. We want to know what the environment was like, because American Pharoah last year had everyone all amped up, and this year no Triple Crown possibility, no Derby winner even at the Belmont. Was the environment different? Was it lessened in any way?
It was different. Without a Triple Crown on the line, the next best thing is a Triple Crown. Grudge match in this rivalry that we would have had with Nyquist and Exaggerator, of course, we didn't see that either. But by the same token, Mo, I think there may have been a little bit of a letdown leading up to the event. Once it got there, and when you looked at the entire racing program, it was a championship-type day of racing. It was a Breeders' Cup-type day of racing. And even though there was no Triple Crown in the balance, hanging in the balance, the simple fact is that this is an American Classic. This is one of the most important horse races in North America, and without all the bells and whistles, the Belmont Stakes is still the Belmont Stakes.
Creator wins the race, but it seemed like he was overlooked leading up to the week. Why was Creator overlooked, and why was he able to win the race?
I think that he had traffic in the Kentucky Derby in that 13th, 14th place finish. Who knows how close he would have been. I think there's been somewhat of a prejudice against closers in the Kentucky Derby. You would think that the farther the race is, the better off a closer is going to be. That's just not the case. Closers typically struggle in the Belmont. It's more of a galloper's race for horses closer to the pace. And it was a very shrewd move by the Wingstar Farm to take a fast horse like Gettysburg. They moved him from Todd Fletcher's stable into Steve Asmussen's stable, put him in the race, even though they wouldn't admit it, as a rabbit, to ensure a faster pace, which really set things up for Creator, who, was completely overlooked in the wagering, but because of the strategy. If Gettysburg is not in the Belmont Stakes, I don't know that Creator catches tested.
104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. On the phone right now, Laffit Pincay with Brady and Goss. He was on the NBC Sports coverage of the Belmont the other day. So Laffit, look, it had been 35 plus years since we saw a Triple Crown win last year. American Pharoah breaks that. Is it better for the sport if a Triple Crown happens more regularly, or if we get three different winners in the Triple Crown races?
That was funny because back in the 70s, we had gone 25 years without a Triple Crown winner, and then Secretariat comes along, and he ended what was at the time the longest Triple Crown drought ever. And then a few years after him, there was in a Seattle Slew in 77, and then Affirmed in 78, and then Spectacular Bid looked like he was going to become a fourth Triple Crown winner in the decade, and the conversation all of a sudden was, this seems too easy. We have to make it more difficult. Spectacular Bid gets beat in the 79 Belmont, and before you know it, 37 years pass, and we don't have a Belmont Stakes. I think, sure, from an interest standpoint, being able to dangle that 35, 36, 37-year carrot is always going to add intrigue, and people are wondering, what the price of gas was for the last Triple Crown winner and who was in office. Is it the most elusive? Is it the most difficult accomplishment in all of sports? Those are the conversations we were having before American Pharoah. Now that we've seen a Triple Crown winner, of course, the interest isn't going to quite be as high as it was the previous one time had we seen it this year. But still, when you look at what American Pharoah did for the sport, generating more interest and how many people truly were touched by this racehorse, fell in love with the story and the racehorse himself, the interest in racing, I think it was the shot in the arm that the sport needed at the time.
Going into the race, I thought Exaggerator was going to be able to hang on, and I'm watching the coverage, and all of a sudden, I see you in the pouring rain along with your coworkers. The rain starts opening up and pouring down on you guys, and I'm thinking in my head, and maybe selfishly a bit, that, man, if this rain had hit 15 minutes earlier when Exaggerator was up there, he could have won the Belmont because we know how well he's ran on those wet tracks. Ease my mind a little bit, Laffit. Would that have happened if the rain had come a little bit sooner? Would Exaggerator have won the Belmont?
If he would have run and finished third or fourth, then maybe this giant monsoon that would have changed the complexion of the racetrack, and if we would have had a muddy racetrack, a sloppy racetrack, maybe you could make that argument, but he finished 11th. And that's not to take anything away from Exaggerator. It's not like Exaggerator was he's still the terrific racehorse we watched finish second in the Derby and win the Preakness. It's just been a long campaign. He ran in every Triple Crown race, and that is the longest race at the end of what's been a very taxing campaign for Exaggerator. But give him some time off. He'll be back. He'll be just fine.
NBC Sports horse racing analyst and expert, Laffit Pincay, with us, 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. Brady and Goss in for Levac and Wolf today. Off the Belmont for a second, Laffit, our producer Mariano, is a horse racing guru as well. And I just have to tell you about his hardship, unfortunately, this weekend. In race 6, the race with all the upsets where Pure Sensation won it, he was in line at the betting window to bet the Superfecta and would have won $5,000 on the 10-cent super and didn't get the bet in time. You feel bad for him?
I mean, normally it's the fault of the bettor if you get shut out. You did something wrong. You didn't get there early enough. You have to jump lines. You have to see which lines are moving. It's frustrating on a big day like that. I mean, maybe you can also wonder if they had enough people hired there handling all the windows and the people and everything. But that's still, it's heartbreaking. A $5,000 Superfecta, yeah, I feel for him. I sympathize for him getting shut out. That is the absolute worst. The only thing worse than that is making a bet, getting the ticket back, realizing the numbers aren't right, going back and changing it, and then having those horses win anyway. That's the only thing more frustrating than getting shut out.
I think the next worst thing is him having to hear us talk about it all show long and hear you give him the speech.
Yeah, he gets to hear from thousands of others now, aside from just YouTube.
We will hopefully give him something to look forward to this summer. Of course, we're here in the capital region, Saratoga, not too far away from us. We're hoping for the Travers Stakes we will see the rematch, round 3, between Nyquist and Exaggerated. The Travers, have you heard anything? Is it likely we're going to see that later this summer here?
I think so, and it would actually be round 6. They've already faced each other 5 times, and it is a true rivalry by definition because Exaggerator finally beat Nyquist. It's not Sunday Silence Easy Goer yet, but I think before the end of the year, I think the 3-year-old championship and Horse of the Year could be decided in a race like the Breeders' Cup Classic, which is its purse has just been inflated from $5 million to $6 million, the richest race in North America. That's at Santa Anita this year. I think Nyquist is going to head back east. The truth is the races for 3-year-olds in the summer out west aren't much. So I don't know if it'll be in maybe the Haskell, in the Travers, without having heard anything close to remotely official in terms of concrete plans, because Team Exaggerator needs to see how he comes out of the Belmont. Nyquist is still recovering. He had that slight temperature right after the Preakness Stakes. My money would be on the Travers and those two meeting up there, which would make for, last year's Travers was amazing with American Pharaoh. This one would be in the general zip code in terms of intrigue and interest.
It's hard to imagine something getting close to the spectacle we had last year, but a Nyquist Exaggerator rivalry here in Saratoga would certainly do that. Laffit Pincay, NBC Sports horse racing coverage. Laffit, we hope to see you around the track because we're going to be up there quite a bit this summer.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you guys. We have a big schedule about to get underway for the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series. We start in 2 weeks with the Hollywood Gold Cup. It's now at Santa Anita, and 2 stops, I believe, at Saratoga for the Travers, and the following week for the Woodward.
Awesome. We can't wait to see you, Laffit. Thanks for a lot and continued success and great coverage.
Thanks a lot. Anytime, guys. Thanks so much.